Hey there, fellow wanderers. Imagine yourself stepping into a dimly lit workshop, a corner of the world far removed from the noise and bustle of medieval markets. The air here is thick with the metallic scent of molten gold, mingling with smoke and the sharp tang of burnt charcoal. You trudge forward, each step creaking the well-trod wood beneath your feet, sensing the heat emanating from the forge like a small sun captured in stone and iron. This is the domain of the medieval goldsmith, where the grand illusions of prosperity and artistry often clash with the harsh realities of the craft. In this shadowy enclave, darkness looms with undeniable weight, pierced only by the flickering glow of candlelight and the relentless fanning of bellows. The steady rhythm of hammers against metal echoes through the room, a constant reminder of the toil these craftsmen endure day in and day out. It's a symphony of labor, where you can almost hear the whispered tales of those who bent their backs to shape treasures they could never claim. But before you think this is a fairy tale of fortune and artistic mastery, let's pause. This is not a fairy tale. It's a gritty tale of sweat and sacrifice. The truth is, the relentless demands of noble patrons and the ceaseless need for precision mean that this vocation, revered as it might be, is filled with burdens that outshine its gold. So before we dive deeper, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Now, dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Let's begin. And remember, in medieval times, even survival was a luxury. As you navigate this forge, attention drifts to the appraising eyes of the master goldsmith, scrutinizing every move, his gaze as piercing as the tools at his disposal. There's no room for error here. Each glance measures your worth and perseverance. Years ago, this very room might have held aspirations as bright as the gold in the crucible. Yet today, it echoes with reality's cold bite. The medieval goldsmith is trapped in a world where skill and dexterity are as vital as the very air they breathe, yet perilously little room exists for mistakes. The renowned dexterity required to inlay jewelry with intricate designs isn't merely a skill, it's a necessity. Imagine operating under intense pressure, knowing any miscalculation could turn your craft from an object of adoration into a mangled failure, jeopardizing a livelihood already on edge. Flames dance suddenly as the smith throws more coal onto the forge, throwing shadows across rough walls. It's a strange, hypnotic beauty, punctuating the room with bursts of fleeting light. Sizzle follows a fresh pour of precious metal, a reminder of the raw elements being wrested into submission. And there's an odd satisfaction in knowing even nature must bow. To the goldsmith's will yet, nature exacts its price with fumes that claw at throats and cloud the mind. Can you sense the discord here? Beneath the layers of sweat and the clamor of creation, there's an ever-present tension, the pursuit of art for art's sake, clashing with the relentless business of survival. Goldsmiths are craftsmen caught in a web of high expectations and low rewards, their expertise coveted, yet rarely celebrated beyond their shadows. While the fire hisses, you might wonder why anyone would choose such a path. To comprehend this, you must acknowledge an age where personal fulfillment could be dwarfed by feudal duty. The goldsmith's trade, with its allure of wealth and craftsmanship, often drew those with hopes of rising from obscurity, of shaping not just metal, but destiny itself. Yet as you peer closer, it's clear that this is not a straightforward tale of aspiration. Rather, it's a saga of grit against the grinding stones of time. A crucial element of a goldsmith's life is their proximity to society's powerful figures. This association elevates their status, though it simultaneously doubles the dangers they face. Each piece crafted is a target, each commission a potential treachery. Legend has it that some goldsmiths rumored whispers of the arcane in their practice, flirted with alchemical fantasies, and danced around the idea of the philosopher's stone. Such stories add an almost magical allure to the practicality of their work, yet remind us of the thin line between acknowledged craftsmanship and mystifying legend. Historians still argue whether these stories of goldsmiths, turning base metals into gold, were anything more than elaborate tales woven to enhance their mystique. Was it perhaps desperation that birthed these legends, or simply human nature's penchant for weaving myth into the mundane? As you trace the dust settling around this ancient forge, remember that every tool, every shivering flame, carried the dreams and hardships of those who wielded them. This is a domain where ambition must constantly temper its expectations with the dull thud of reality, where toil must compete with artistry, and sometimes the latter may tremble and yield. And so, with these thoughts simmering, you step further into this world of gleaming peril, ready to cradle each golden truth in the palm of your hand, knowing full well that tales gilded in reality seldom shimmer as brightly when you're standing in the shadows. For now, let us linger here, where history's tapestry is intricately woven with threads of gold, sweat, and the silent whispers of artisans long past. As you settle into the structured chaos of the medieval goldsmith's forge, another figure comes into focus, a nameless apprentice, eyes wide, yet heavy with the torpor of endless toil. The journey into the heart of a goldsmith's craft is punctuated by this critical first chapter, Apprenticeship, an initiation into a world fraught with patience and monotony. Picture starting from the very bottom, where the path to mastery is less a golden road and more a never-ending slog through mud. An aspiring goldsmith begins as an apprentice, tethered to their master's whims. And let's not forget, a master's patience can wear as thin as the blades they hone. In the medieval world, where sons often followed in their father's footsteps, the apprentices were drawn from a young age. Packed with dreams, they entered towering workshops with heads held high and high hopes of one day holding the revered title of Master Goldsmith. Alas, those dreams almost instantly crashed against the hard stone of reality. In the chill of early dawn or the lingering embers of dusk, you'll find yourself shuffling through the forge. Your tasks are simple yet grueling: sweeping, organizing tools, fetching materials all, while under the scrutinizing eye of craftsmen who demand nothing short of precision. Hours turn into days, days into months, filled with repetition and rhythm, until your muscles know the motions better than your own mind. The reality for an apprentice is a grim one. It's a question of endurance as much as ingenuity. While the modern world romanticizes the discovery of new skills, in these medieval times, you couldn't just skip online for a quick tutorial. Years of observation were required just to understand the basic principles, laying the groundwork for unveiling metal's mysteries and discerning the melting points that differ with every batch. The irony here is not lost years are spent learning before an apprentice even gets to touch the gold that drew them in. Historians still argue whether the rigidity of the apprenticeship system stifled creativity or fostered a more disciplined craftsmanship. Either way, the system was definitive, setting a standard followed for centuries. It's not all drudgery, though. There is a camaraderie that forms, a hard-won bond between those hunched-over anvils and scales. Laughter, although sparse, reverberates once in a while, serving as a brief respite from the unyielding grind. However, even laughter comes with an edge, knowing any slip-up could result in being lashed with a tongue more fiery than the forge's flame, or worse, being expelled from the workshop. Through these experiences, the apprentice must find joy in subtle achievements: smelted lump, purified to perfect gleam, a hammer's blow that falls just right. These small victories stitch together the apprentice's maturing skill set. The grumbles and muffled yells of displeasure transform over time into approving grunts, the closest a medieval master might come to praise. As you spend these years bent over anvils and hunch under low-ceiling workspaces, a peculiar melange of emotions grips you. The proximity to wealth, the allure of ornate crowns, goblets, and intricate ringses, tantalizing. Yet, much like glancing upon the sun, staring too long at what you cannot possess leaves a lingering sense of yearning. Speaking of crowns and jewels, it's amusing that over such wealth, you slave with nothing more to show for it than a meager compensation. You'll learn the true meaning of paradox, learning that in creating wealth you do not share in it. Only after surviving these endeavors could one just maybe earn the autonomy to set up their own shop. Even with these prospects dimly on the horizon, the loyalty to one's guild ensures you remain within the larger fold, somewhat tethered to the legacy of your master and the structure that once fed and now contains you. Walking through these cobblestone hallways time and time again, The clamor of hammers and the whoosh of bellows becomes a soothing melody. Each day offers either an intimate space for mistakes or a canvas where artisan dreams begin to project. Only here, among the grit and grind, is it possible to unravel the deep mystical threads tying humanity to its creations, carving expertise from mere potential. And so, the days dance away like shadows on a medieval wall, led by flickering candlelight, and the promise, however distant, that one day you'll emerge not just from this forge, but from obscurity itself. Until then, into the crucible you go, simmering slowly in the mix of fire, fate, and infinite patience. Taking a moment now, perhaps to roll aching shoulders or stretch weathered fingers, you recognize this labyrinth journey as a stepping stone. In the shimmering tales of yore, it's tempting to forget the unseen world hiding beneath and within, where apprentices learn more than just craft. They discover themselves finding just as much beauty in the errors that teach as in the successes that adorn. As this story continues to unfold, we're only beginning to scratch beneath the dazzling surface. Soon, the goldsmith apprentice's path will lead beyond the forge, walking ever closer to the whispered fringes of power. But for now, keep them in your thoughts, those young souls in faded tunics and dreams, tempered by the fire's touch. The name goldsmith evokes visions of opulence and grandeur, yet beneath those glittering facades lies the harsh reality of wielding wealth's very essence. As you tread further into the world of the medieval goldsmith, you're confronted with the weight of wealth, a paradoxical burden as bright as it is exhausting. Gold, while beautiful, is still a commodity, and those who shape it must constantly navigate a labyrinth of danger, envy, and suspicion. This allure of wealth often acts as both shield and sword. As a goldsmith, you're enveloped in the sheen of prosperity, but it's a prosperity largely denied to those crafting the very items it touches. True, your work is revered by kings and queens, adorned in cathedrals and palaces, yet with each piece completed, the wealth remains just out of reach, tantalizing in its proximity. In this medieval era, the nightly darkness is no longer solely a respite from the day's toil. It's a time of heightened vigilance when shadows might betray the presence of those with less than noble intentions. The goldsmith's home and workshop are never truly safe havens, but rather locked vaults of paranoia, guarding against the ceaseless whispers of thieves and rivals eager to claim not only finished pieces, but also the precious raw gold, whose worth outstrips that of most commodities. You'll come to recognize that in every ingot lies a story of power struggles and secrecy. With every precious gram, there's the knowledge that your status as a craftsman brings risk seen both as a blessing and a curse. Goldsmiths were often well connected, situated within layers of the social hierarchy, granting them unique access to elites, and occasionally, rumor has it, matters of state. Imagine the tension such connections bring, walking a fine line between artisan and conspirator. Flipping through manuscripts written by contemporary chroniclers, one finds evidence of goldsmiths both honored and vilified, sometimes within the same breath. They're praised for their skills in transforming molten metal to beauty, yet accused of indulging in avarice, suspected of being complicit with rogues peddling counterfeit coins. It's a treacherous game of reputation, where innocence can vanish as swiftly as a golden coin from a grasping hand at the market. The reality of constant scrutiny dabbles with the ink of historical drama, where stories of betrayal, survival, and the flow of gold could read like capers from a thriller novel. Historians still argue whether accounts of malfeasance were genuinely frequent or simply inflated by the jealousy of scribes. What is certain, though, is the uncertain kindness of fate streaming through the career of any goldsmith. As a goldsmith, in this century, you constantly assess who in your orbit can truly be trusted. Employees, apprentices, even family members must be evaluated, for the stakes are higher than merely reputation. They could well be life itself. The market for gold is cutthroat, and everyone, it seems, is eager for a piece of this revered glory. While many forged dreams are shrouded in idealism and ambition, the truth here is as harsh and direct as the clang of metal against stone. What lies at the heart of this paradox is a deeply human dilemma: quest for creating beauty out of chaos, while existing in a world that sees value only in tangible wealth, not the hands that sculpt it. The genuine appreciation for an artisan is finally revealed not through wealth, but through legacy. Many goldsmiths forever remain anonymous, their names lost in history's abyss while their creations survive. Their toil bears witness to the extraordinary lengths reached and the burdens borne by those who shaped the very currency of empires. What emerges from molten fire isn't merely metal, but a record of lives and lineages. Step back now, from the fires of intrigue that forge further tales, to the contemplation of a simple truth. Wealth here is not merely currency. It is an expectation, a constant testing, a burden as precious as it is perilous. In many ways, it is also a tale of survival, of aspirational dreams chased between the millstones of politics and power. As the candle flickers low, casting long shadows upon worn stone, you find yourself drifting closer to understanding the balance each craftsman strikes with each stroke, each smelted trickle of gold. Like all great adventures, it's not without its dangers, nor without its rewards. A story of creating echoes that fade not into silence, but into the enduring shimmer of history's light. There's much more to uncover beyond these gilded walls, tales to tell, and stories of goldsmith glory and strife to unfold. For now, in the stillness of the night, wealth's seductive promise hovers just beyond reach, inspiring while taunting those whose lives it touches, and so we mend our gilded path onward, explorations awaiting in the forge's depths. As the forge's steady glow illuminates the workshop, the air here grows thick with an unwelcome companion-noxious fumes lingering in the smoky halos around flickering candlelight. This is a reality that every medieval goldsmith must embrace. While the promise of creating beauty lures you into this trade, one cannot ignore the insidious health hazards lurking in the shadows of artistry. You've learned by now that a goldsmith's existence is fraught with challenges beyond precision and theft. Toiling in these oppressive atmospheres day after day, you find yourself wrestling not just with molten metal, but with a host of fumes billowing from potions and substances mercury used in gilding, or lead to ease soldering joins, each a silent, skulking predator to one's health. Imagine yourself hunched over your craft, the heat from the forge seeping into every pore, drenched in perspiration, while your lungs fill with air that's anything but clean. In the room, the smell is sharp and acrid, burning with every breather, the cruel reminder that your dreams of artisan mastery are always shadowed by the very real spectre of illness. Many goldsmiths face an array of ailments, from respiratory problems to mysterious pains that medicine of the time couldn't hope to address. Those fluttering wisps of vapor that dance through the workshop are not merely an abstract danger, they are unseen curses, making iron lungs dance an erratic two-step. It's no wonder that these craftspeople age prematurely, burdened as much by the fumes as by the physical demands of their work. This introduction to the trade's sacrifice brings forth the fascination that these artists hold with alchemy, pursuit of change, both beneficial and mythical. Picture the allure of concoctions promising better health, even immortality, expressed through imaginary pharmaceuticals spun from philosophers' stones. Historians still argue whether these were earnest searches for cures or symbolic quests for the mind's salvation from bodily decay. But the lure of alchemical remedies is undeniably potent in a world where medicine is archaic and superstitions prevail. Back within these workshops, one begrudgingly accepts the paradox, mimicking a cruel joke, surrounded by tools to create splendor, yet simultaneously crafting one's slow demise. And if you listen closely, among the clinks of the hammer and hissing metal, you may hear veteran goldsmiths murmuring remedies and cures, potions and poultices passed down homegrown answers to modern science's absence. Some might even whisper of ancient secrets held by resident apothecaries' charms and herbs traded between allies who valued life and limb, less for true efficacy than for the reassuring perfunctory routines they offer. Yet the question often loomed. Did these medieval tonics truly provide relief, or were they merely opiates to the soul, granting comfort through delusion? Even though definitive answers remain a scholarly debate, the devotion of goldsmiths to even perceived relief speaks volumes of their plight. Then again, let's not dismiss the craftsmanship itself as devoid of ingenious solutions. Goldsmiths were no strangers to evolving their trades. Observational learning might ensure some inventions, simple masks, windows crafted to ventilate, or hoods guiding smoke away inching towards betterment, just enough to whisper hope into beleaguered lungs. While the clang of metal continues rhythmically in this room, consider the pulling tension of created beauty against the degradation of health. Each expertly crafted goblet or intricately designed brooch testifies to overtness we today can scarcely apprehend. Here, in these historiographies convened within a forge, the health hazards of yore become narratives bearing the silent scars of sacrifice. This might explain why, beyond desire, loyalty to kin is so central, where families can watch over and endure together in face of hardship, losing none except to the inevitably creeping shadow of ailments. It serves as both a reminder and caution those secrets whispered at the forge are not just passed on skills but tales of survival in spite of it all. Even as you retreat from the workshop's heavy atmosphere, there's an unmatched appreciation for those workmen and women continuing in their craft, cloaked in the ever-present haze of fate, as tangible as the gilded artifacts themselves. They transcend mere production. They forge stories into the very things of legends. And so, past the ripple of time, every soft exhalation is more than just breath its continuity, immortalized now in the ancient air you have just inhaled. While the tale continues into more dimensions within this velvety tapestry, take a moment to cherish their triumph, not just over base metals, but over the elements and their own mortality, weaving a world underpinned by triumph and tragedy. Rest your eyes, if only briefly, shielded from the smoke that clings, and let the tale linger on as you step forward. Peering into the medieval goldsmith's workshop, you find yourself enveloped in a cacophony of rhythmic clinks and the gentle whir of grinding wheels. Here, each tool becomes an extension of the craftsman's very being, vital cogs in the intricate machine of artistry that commands both respect and caution. Welcome to the world of tools, of the trade the bedrock upon which beauty stands, sometimes demanding its pound of flesh along the path to mastery. Imagine the tools laid out before you. The luminous dance of copper against bronze, hammers both broad-headed and fine, each singing with its own tone as it strikes metal. In your hand, the mallet feels a perfect weight, poised to deliver precision blows that reshape gold's malleable surface. And then there's the chiseler, deceptively simple instrument. It carves more than just metal. It etches stories into the very fabric of history. Every press, every strike, tells a tale of resilience and precision. You're learning to listen to the music your tools make, a symphony crafted in an age before automation, where one could find beauty in the rise and fall of artisan labor. Yet each tool also hides danger in its simplicity, an omnipresent risk of accidents that could cripple a hand or gouge the skin. To be a goldsmith is to respect the tools you wield, knowing each has its quirks and demands. The drawplate and wire drawing tools come into play, allowing you to transform gold into fine wire, a process as beautiful as it is delicate physical labor mixed with mathematical precision. Pulling the wire necessitates intuition and steady hands as much as strength, for gold's inferiority under tension belies its subtle prowess in the crafting process. Fact becomes narrative. Patience and resilience are the true architects of time, bending to ancient wisdom only now visible. And consider the bellows, providing vital life to the forge as it breathes life into fire through mere contrivance. It's more than an instrument. It's almost a partner in this fiery ballet, eagerly feeding transformative flames that shift mere metal to treasure. Historians still argue whether innovations in these tools led to greater productivity in the Middle Ages or whether they merely adjusted to medieval constraints. But the satisfaction they deliver, as you coax gold from formlessness into realized splendor, speaks to their transcendence. As you stand in this time-worn workshop, consider the grindstone, taming jagged edges into smooth perfection. This is where minute adjustments build to grandeur each pass over the stone's smoothing years of work into seamless transition, teaching you patience and the beauty of repetition. When managed by skilled hands, these tools are like scripts writ in metal, characters and skills combined to conjure romance where only one's imagination plays. Quirky tidbits bubble up even from this pool of artisanal rigor, revealing the creativity underpinning the goldsmith's workload. Did you know that pliers, essential for manipulating delicate pieces, were once feared tools in the courtrooms of medieval Italy? They were seen as aids in theft, all while remaining indispensable to honest artisans at home. A peculiar contradiction of honor and mistrust. There are no shortcuts in this craft. just as there are no shortcuts in life. Every stroke, burnish, stitch, or groove requires intent and perseverance, bearing testament to the vibrant lives behind each exquisite adornment. It's easy to romanticize this scene with history's gloss, but remember, you're standing in a world where brilliance only emerges through iterative toil. Reflect now on a favorite of Mindtong's. Each pair is a testament to durability, enabling the craftsman to manipulate searing metals with the deftness of an artist in his element. Peer closer, and you'll observe how tactile nuances of grip and resistance become a delicate waltz, moving the unmovable within slow symphonic time. So fundamental, so deceptively straightforward, yet so invested with the spirit of discipline. As the late afternoon light dimly settles over the workbench, casting long shadows between each cherished tool, the pervading silence is a comfort, offering a subtle pause amidst relentless creativity. Now, close your eyes and let the ambience guide you, feeling each tool weight anew. In these acts, your hands become well acquainted with long-forgotten Ali's Veri. Hammering beat resonates with the heartbeat of this ancient labor, a melodious narrative sung through the hum of metals, alive with defiance and purpose. And so, with each use, each crafting session cautiously symmetrical to history's forgotten echo, we stride into the tales yet unwoven, buoyed by the guiding hands of the world's most essential artisans. Honor them, those forgotten craftsmen and women who shared their skills and strength in timeless service, as our odyssey unfolds into the realms of stories anchorest to aspiration and mastery. As the sun peaks over the horizon, its blinding light paints the medieval cityscape in hues of gold and amber. The world stirs from slumber, and for the goldsmith, this isn't a moment of tranquil awakening, it's a demanding call to rise and meet the relentless march of daylight. Sunlight, much like the craft of gold itself, is both a friend and a foe. While it illuminates the delicate intricacies of your artistry, it also heralds the commencement of another grueling day within the oppressive confines of your workshop. Imagine starting your day with the comforting yet overwhelming warmth radiating from the forge. It's a heat that penetrates deep, mingling with the natural warmth of the day, driving beads of sweat along your brow before you've even lifted a tool. This is no mere sauna. It's a relentless torrent of heat, akin to an eternal midsummer day. The sun, rising to its zenith, insults with its unyielding gaze, leaving you little choice but to return its stare with a grimace of determination and resignation. Labor laws as we know them are nothing but a fantasy here. In the medieval era, the boundaries of work were dictated not by clock or calendar, but by necessity and the whims of those who commissioned your artistry. In this world, your workload reflects the whims of patrons who crave a visage of wealth more than the sweat-soaked brow of the artisan behind it. Hours blend into each other, marked only by the increasing fatigue lodging itself firmly between your shoulder blades. The contrast between the imposing grandeur of your creations and the humble, laborious means of their production becomes stark in such light. You might fashion intricate filigrees that grace royal courts, yet your closest association to such elegance is the sun streaming through a cracked workshop window. It's a dance on the edge of admiration and irony, with the sunlight mocking any aspirations for rest just as it illuminates the fruits of your toil. As you navigate the day's demands, the reality looms large that injury is a whisper away. Every slip could be costly, as even the brightest day can suddenly turn hazardous. Caught in the radiant crosshairs of sunlight and spark, every flick of molten metal carries potential mischief. Every brief flicker of inattention, a recipe for disaster. Blisters from handling hot materials seem to glow with the same intensity as the sun's rays, each an unpleasant reminder of the toll exacted by such blinding visibility. In these midday hours, bustling markets come alive with merchants peddling goods and calf-tangent-clad nobles eager to dazzle courts with fresh adornments. Yet for the goldsmith, each sale comes with the bittersweet awareness that while your creations enliven the markets, your own existence lies outside this sphere of glamour, working tirelessly as sunlight stretches its golden fingers into the darkest corners of the workshop. Oddly enough, historians still argue whether the intense labor expectations on goldsmiths during this era contributed more to innovation or simply propped up oppressive social structures. These artisans, poised between creativity and convention, had no recourse to leisure only the semblance of it, where rest might merely transform into the pause between concluding one commission and commencing the next. Through these sun-drenched days, your thoughts might wonder how you could recede into the shadow for just a moment, claim the life-giving chill of a stream or bask in the caress of a gentle breeze. But even these daydreams cannot distract for long. Reality demands attention. Even the briefest reverie could compromise the delicate balance of heat, alloy, and time required for perfect creation. Day inevitably wanes, and as shadows lengthen, cool relief softly envelops the city once more. The workshop, quieter now, becomes a refuge from the sun's persistent torment. It's a respite deserving of gratitude, yet fleeting, for tomorrow the cycle begins anew, a distant echo of life's relentlessness in medieval times. So, as daylight's insults fade and injury gives way to restoration under cover of darkness, allow yourself that fleeting exhale, perhaps alongside a glimpse of the waxing moon. In this moment, rest assured that in all epochs, resilience thrives, allowing artisans like the medieval goldsmith to blend brilliance and indomitability into the lasting legacy of crafted splendor. As you stretch weary limbs and ease the strain pressing upon tired eyes, the solace of dusk cloaks you in readiness to face whatever may come when eventual dawn breaks its golden promise once more. Let your story continue, guided by wisdom gained and the freedom to discover beauty hidden in sunlit shadows. In the quiet embrace of early dawn or the muted tones of twilight, returning to the goldsmith's workshop, you become acutely aware that this sanctuary of creation also functions as a fortress. Medieval goldsmiths were guardians as much as artisans, tasked with the dual responsibility of forging beauty and defending it against the ever-lurking menace of theft. Enter the domain of medieval security measures, a complex weave of vigilance, cunning, and psychology designed to protect treasures born from fire. The workshop, perhaps tucked away in a bustling thoroughfare or discreetly positioned on a lesser-known alley, must embody the guise of an impenetrable sanctuary. Heavy wooden doors bound with iron clasps and reinforced shutters stand guard, secure against prying eyes. An air of secrecy clings to this place, much like the smoke hovering around the kiln's edge, both concealing and revealing in turn. As you pass through, you might find yourself stepping deftly over the cleverly concealed pressures of a creaky floorboard, known only to those intimately familiar with this space. Every corner, every shadow is scrutinized with meticulous attention, for what the master seeks is not just protection of substance, but a hedge against betrayal brewed in ambition or desperation. Listen closely, and beneath the clang of hammers upon metal lies an unseen symphony orchestrated to deter would-be intruders. Disguised traps, some as simple as bells carefully hung to announce unwanted presence, others more creatively designed, speak to the goldsmith's need for constant vigilance. Even seemingly mundane items, like seemingly haphazardly placed bricks, reveal themselves to be hidden keys to secret compartments, known only to the most trusted individuals. With each breath drawn, goldsmiths are aware of the fragile balance precariously holding prosperity in place. They dance the line between trust and suspicion, employing an arsenal of tactics to control who gains access and who is kept at bay. The goldsmith's craft may serve royalty and nobility, but it is deeply enmeshed within a world where currency holds power and power breeds envy. Security is never just physical, it's psychological. The art of deception comes into play, creating false trails or whispering secrets designed to mislead. Some goldsmiths cleverly hide their most precious works in plain sight, concealed within more common-looking trinkets, a many-layered Russian doll of intrigue where the true treasures lay hidden from sight. The guilds, those formidable protectors and enforcers of medieval craftsmanship, add another layer of security. These collectives offer strength in numbers, a shield fashioned from a shared reputation. To challenge the honor of one becomes to challenge all. It is a brotherhood as much defined by its rules and regulations as its assurance of collective safety. The risk of dishonor, exile, or worse, provides a powerful deterrent to betrayal and thievery. Yet, It's not unusual for whispers to circulate through alleyways with rumors of prized pieces spirited away under the cloak of night by those privy to a goldsmith's secrets. The betrayals are rare, yet they echo loud, a reminder that trust itself can be a double-edged sword. Among the array of protective strategies, quirky customs have also emerged through time. Did you know some found security through mything? This peculiar act involved moving tools and small objects each night, creating an illusion of busyness and presence even in absence. It's a simple yet effective measure to confound any curious onlooker. Historians still argue whether these measures were a product of necessity or paranoia, or whether they stemmed from a storied tradition of mistrust growing with wealth itself. What remains unchanged, however, is the understanding that those who shape treasures must fiercely protect them. As dusk falls, and the day's vigor is replaced with cautious relief, you retreat deeper into the workshop's embrace, surrounded by the quiet, reassuring whispers of gilded captives now slumbering in their fortified refuge. This tale of security is, at its heart, a side narrative to the creative journey, a testament to the never-ending dance between paranoia and preservation, caution and craft. And so, drawing security measures around oneself becomes another skill in the goldsmith's extensive repertoire. It's less a burden and more an expected trait in a world of fraught exchanges where trust needs more than validation but reinforcement and vigilance itself. As stories of intrigue and innovation continue, weaving tales of gold's gleaming brilliance against darkened anticipation, you hold vigil with the goldsmiths, secure in the knowledge that their legacy endures not just through opulence, but through resilience as well. Rest alongside these ancient guardians as our journey continues, guarded by the silent but steadfast echoes of security forged in the medieval crucible. In the intricacies of medieval life, the Goldsmiths Guild emerges not merely as an institution, but as a vital network of influence, wielding power over the craft and its craftsmen. As you weave your way into this world of secretive hierarchies, imagine the Guild as both a sanctuary and a cagier place where protection from external threats comes wrapped in layers of rules and tradition. The Guild serves as a place where goldsmiths collectively pool their experiences, ambitions, and skills, a tapestry of knowledge that binds members together. There's a cacophony of voices echoing through guild halls, each recounting tales of commissions won or lost, each an unwritten chapter of history unfolding in this grand, stone-carved tapestry of life. As a new guild member, you sense the weight of expectations, a heavy mantle passed on from one generation to the next. While these guilds offer a shield against the chaos of medieval markets and rogue artisans, they also impose strictures that can stifle individual creativity. The guild sets standards for quality and fairness, which all members are expected to adhere to, but this heralds another reality. The guild controls not just what you craft, but how you think about your craft. In exchange for allegiance, the guild provides its protection, a network that offers stability in the capricious world of medieval trade. Work is shared among members, and disputes are settled with a collective nod. The guild operates like an everlasting cog, spinning tales of unity and hierarchy, its existence demanded by a society built upon ancient legacies and delicate reimbursements. Yet for every aspiring goldsmith, membership is both aspiration and limitation. Your craft becomes your voice amongst contemporaries, yet herein lies a risk of conforming too closely, of losing originality to the prescribed order. The guild's formidable reach extends beyond workshops, encapsulating exchanges with patrons, trade negotiations, and services rendered to society's elite. In medieval law, the guild is both a benevolent overseer and an unwieldy overseer of modes. Historians still argue whether the guild system fostered a remarkable standard of craftsmanship or thwarted individualism by molding artisans into indistinguishable facets of a larger, brilliant gemstone. Were guilds barriers to innovation, or did they nurture environments of competition and excellence? The debate simmers eternally, much like the forge fires that breathe life into gold. Within the candle-lit recesses of the guild hall, you might hear colourful tidbits about the challenges faced between feuding cities and guilds, revealing the unrecorded stories of alliances made and broken over cups of ale, or whispers over shoulder-borne suspicions. Among the members' shared wisdom are tales of cooperative projects that transform rough ideas into refined art, a testament to potential born from the union of minds. But it was not all communal harmony. Remember that the guilds guarded their secrets jealously. Master goldsmiths were tasked with passing down a closely held heritage from teacher to apprentice, reinforcing the sanctified bond that characterizes this medieval fraternity. Inside their circle, you experience both the security and shackles of institutional loyalty, crafting an existence framed within the rich setting of communal artistry. The guild has a proprietary hand in evaluating the quality of work, determining which pieces are worthy of display and which hold innovation but risk scorn. You can sense it, a palpable tension woven within the goldsmith's creativity, a complexity braided from desires to forge ahead while remaining within the prescribed lanes of art and commerce. In this undercurrent of artistry and authority, find also camaraderie that enlivens the guild halls during gatherings and festivals, when the burdens melt away amidst laughter and jest. These are times when the guild's true nature reveals itself, not only as an institution, but as an integral element of each craftsman's identity. In these late hours, the conversation deepens, optics softened by a shared reverence for age-old traditions and expectations. As the glow from lingering candles fades into the hum of whispered pledges, you recognize that this world of guilds reverberates through timer, self-sustaining structure of protection, one capable of preserving not just the artistry of its members, but the integrity of generations yet to come. And so, with a nod to these steadfast guardians of heritage, you withdraw into the depths of history's embrace, continuing forward, buoyed by the knowledge that the guilds offer both the canvas and boundaries upon which your unified narrative is painted. Let their influence guide you as tales of unity and division unfurl, shaped by the sway and strength of guild life. As you delve deeper into the medieval goldsmith's craft, a poignant tension becomes apparent, an enduring struggle between creativity and convention. This is a world where imagination is both a cherished gift and a dangerous risk. The very nature of goldsmithing is defined by what it creates. Opulence, molded by hands, constrained by the demands of nobility and the whims of their appointed patrons. In your mind's eye, picture the goldsmith standing at the workbench, tools arrayed, metal gleaming, and ideas unfurling like silk, the thrilling potential to transform raw gold into a masterpiece. Yet, this sense of freedom often collides headfirst with the pressures exerted by a rigid hierarchy drumming the beat of conformity, dictating the very essence of what you're allowed to create. The patrons, those noble arbiters of taste, congregate in courts and palaces with visions of grandeur and glory, not necessarily aligned with your own creative instincts. They commission pieces that must reflect their prowess, speak their language, and serve their narrative, often leaving you to navigate the tricky waters of satisfying their desires, while infusing your own artistry into those golden forms. Each commissioned piece is a balancing act, where your creativity bends under the weight of expectation. Your patrons require precise symbolism crests, emblazoned upon goblets, allegorical carvings wrapped around coins, or religious motifs interwoven within crowns. In each case, imagination steps tentatively, restricted by patrons' rigid frameworks, even as it seeks to leave its indelible mark. Although the creative restrictions can be confining, they also reveal an unexpected ingenuity. Goldsmiths become masters at bending designs just enough to include concealed personal signature, unique pattern, a hidden mark, a minuscule testament that whispers, "I was here." At times, the guilds themselves, these sentinels of tradition, echo this conservatism, crafting parameters for creative expression to prevent excess and uphold standards. Imagine submitting your designs for review, knowing that your craft may subvert expectations or strain at the boundaries of decorum, yet steeled by a tenacity that refuses the title of mere craftsman, demanding acknowledgement as an artist. Beyond creativity lies the excitement of experimenting with new techniques or materials. Consider the delicate blend of alloys instead of pure gold, lending unique textures and colorsome innovation from well-weathered hands, often born more from practical necessity than from unsanctioned rebellion. Even under this weight of tradition, goldsmiths remain pioneers within their own disciplined realm. Historians still argue whether these restrictions held back artistic progress or created an environment of focused expertise that deepened technical mastery. Were these limitations shackles of stagnation, or did they act as crucibles, refining raw creativity into transcendent works of art? The debate persists, as nuanced as the finely wrought gold itself. Yet, under this creative battlefield lies an arsenal of peculiar and often delightful insights. Consider a commonplace yet fascinating practice, the medieval adornment of simple armaments with intricate designs. These embellishments were rare occurrences, where nobles sometimes allowed a hint of goldsmiths' creative flair to flourish openly, captivating the inner struggle of artistry meeting practicality. Walking alongside you on this journey are those artisans who not only survived but thrived within these confines, not by succumbing to convention, but by mastering the delicate dance between visible adherence and invisible rebellion. With each bespoke piece, crafted under the watchful eyes of wool-velveted nobility, a goldsmith's mindfulness was tested and attuned. As a practitioner in this world, you cultivate a deep appreciation for every project and limit, as in them lie opportunities to explore your ingenuity. Artistry and constraint become dance partners in a shared waltz, crafting not merely objects, but stories woven from gold, imbued with your spirit between the lines of tradition. As the curtains of twilight draw close, and stars begin their cosmic embroidery, remember that beyond each tick of the hammer lies a devout tradition of innovation contained within time-worn avenusa, dance of creation, swaying gracefully between invisible walls. From the seeds of limitation springs forth an orchard of hidden genius, coaxed into being where creativity meets constancy. The story gallops onwards, fiery and determined, as we ride along the currents of goldsmith prowess. Rest now, surrounded by shadows of history, the quiet yet profound testimony to the allure and challenge of translating imagination into precious reality. As you journey deeper into the intricate world of medieval goldsmithing, you find yourself entangled in the lament of commissioned artworks. Each project, a vivid tapestry woven with threads of artistic ambition and stifled creativity. In a time where patronage dictated the rules of creation, commissioned works serve not only as a lifeline, but also as a formidable tether, binding artistry to the service of another's whims. Imagine standing in your workshop, golden visions beginning to take shape under your careful hand, only to be confronted with a patron's forceful vision. Here, art must conform, bending to the prescriptive needs of noble lineage and personal legacy. Where profound creativity desires flight, the patron's whims confine it to the drawn lines of lineage-approved designs, each gilded contour restraining possibility. Each commission is an intricate dancer relationship, tethered precariously between artist and patron. It's a unique transaction where ambition is traded on the hidden altar of ego, as much as gold itself is fashioned toward endeavor. One must reconcile the weight of noble expectations against the surge of creative instinct, crafting pieces that will do more than simply dazzle upon first sight, but will also imprint whispered legacies through ages. You can envision the goldsmith, poring over sketches and engravings under the soft glow of a dim candle, eyes scanning the rough designs while anticipating the artistic limitations yet to come. This is where freedom pauses, bartered for patronage in a world that can often relegate an artisan's spirit to the shadows of grandeur. Imagining the kind of life brushing alongside lineage promises might prove intoxicating, yet creatively, it is another tale entirely. But there's a sly genesis in this restraint. The goldsmith learns to nestle innovation behind convention, using subtle flourishes, intricate scrolls, and embellishments that are the artist's own. These tiny nuances, perhaps unnoticed by untrained eyes, carry whispers of the artisan's soul concealed within the brilliance of the finished piece. Historians often debate whether this veiled rebellion sparked a quiet revolution in art, contributing to the evolution of craftsmanship that could bridge worlds. The quirks of commissioned work emerge notably within religious pieces, where symbolism is doubly important. Through an intricate mix of faith and fact, patrons often demanded vivid depictions of relation or narrative. In this vein, artisans find unique roles as translators of divine imagery, carefully rendering gold's luster to echo spiritual dimensions. It's an evangelical craft, where the simplest shapes must say so much more. Uncovering the patron's desires, however opaque they might appear, can involve unraveling layers of intent, wrapped in the scented gauze of superiority and elegance. Their preferences as variant and complex as finger-traced patterns visible upon select tapestries hanging unstirred in seldom trespassed halls. Imagine noble whims wrapped in linguistic ornaments. This is the reality of the goldsmith's task. A peculiar note lies in the commissioning of personal heirloomstony treasures of memory and emotion, imbued through meticulous artistry. Imagine these intimate items replete with secret compartments only visible under candlelight, or inscribed with hidden messages left incomplete when spoken openly. These tiny windows into lives less publicized provide a rare freedom of sorts, a conduit for genuine collaboration, where patron and artisan work in tandem. At times, these relationships become legends unto themselves, the goldsmith taking the role of confidant, the creator of unmatched beauty and symbolic gesture. Yet in such alliances lies danger. To misstep would mean courting disfavor not just with patrons, but with the intricate social web they weave. Narratives survive of artisans raised high by favor, only to plunge into obscurity after crossing an influential line. As daylight wanes and shadows stretch long, the completed piece finally emerges, glistening under the last rays of sun. It's carried forth to adorn, to testify to patronage's eye, and the goldsmith's cunning toucher testament to the intricate balance between distinctive flair and nobility-dictated norm. At its core, it is an object of art, born through constraint, a reflection both of self and societal standing. Among cobblestones, lined with echoes of boots long departed, follow this trail through the threads of overt and covert creation. Let your touch call forth those forged instruments of expression, fraught with demand, yet radiant with the residual gleam of possibility etched across their surfaces. Here, as history marches on, remain mindful of those who balanced upon the thin, parallel lines of ingenuity and mandate. As sleep clings to the edges of the day, reimagine yourself here, amidst enveloping tales both declarative and vague. Remember, within these whispers, all remains caught between duty's calling and artistic liberation, until the forge's door gently swings open to yet another chance to discover. Moving deeper into the intricate dance of medieval society, we find ourselves amidst the goldsmith's most high-stakes relationships, those with the royal patrons. These relationships, laden with promise, power, and peril, place the goldsmith on a precarious pedestal beside the rulers of the land. As you navigate this gilded path, you'll discover that while being close to royalty can offer unmatched prestige, it often dances dangerously close to the edge of disaster. Imagine yourself summoned to the grand halls of a royal court, the echo of your footsteps resonating through the vaulted ceilings adorned with frescoes and tapestries. The opulence is overwhelming, yet you are here not as a spectator, but as an integral player, your contributions vital to the crown's image and lineage. The stakes are high, for the pieces you craft must speak the language of royalty, translating power into palpable, glittering form. This association with the royals offers a semblance of stability, a continuous stream of commissions that can gild a goldsmith's career. Yet it is far from straightforward. The demand for excellence is paramount, the margin for error non-existent. Any mistake could be amplified under the scrutiny of regal expectations, where even a slight misstep can lead to disgrace not just in the marketplace but in the eyes of the powerful. As you engage with this rarefied world, you swiftly become attuned to the intricate dance required. Each interaction is an exercise in diplomacy, your words as measured and calculated as the cuts of your chisel on gold. These exchanges are not merely about transactions, but about cultivating trust, understanding desires not immediately voiced, and ensuring that each piece bears witness to the monarchy's undying legacy. A peculiar benefit of being so close to royalty lies in the access it provides. You become privy to stories whispered over goblets of wine at banquets, tales of alliances and conflicts, marriages and betrayals. Your work is rarely just about aesthetics. It's a conveyance of political symbolism, a testament to divine right, or a subtle nod to a strategic marriage. Each facet or shape signifies elements beyond its mere physical presence. Yet, proximity to power is a double-edged sword. The court is rife with intrigues and ambitions, and being part of this sphere implicates you in its swirling currents. The goldsmith is not merely a craftsman here, but a player in a grander game, where one's every allegorical carving or engraved portrait carries potential repercussions, themes transcending mere art. Historians still argue whether the influence goldsmiths wielded through their interpretations of royal desires impacted political landscapes or merely adorned them. Could a cleverly designed piece shift allegiances, or was it simply an embellishment on the broader chessboard of power? Unraveling these threads continues to captivate scholars, a reminder of how closely intertwined craft and influence remain. Tales reach us through corridors of time, of those moments when a goldsmith's vision synced perfectly with a monarch's demands, resulting in creations celebrated for centuries, masterpieces of elegance that defined and shaped eras. But equally whisper the warnings of patronage turned sour, where bold artistic decisions led to falls from grace as swift as they were irrevocable. In this hierarchy of diverse power, not all relationships are symbiotic. Consider a certain set of ornamental swords, commissioned for a royal wedding that never transpired, symbolic of vows never exchanged. The goldsmith becomes a keeper of stories untold, histories of calamitous ends marked often by over-adornment instead of lack. It is a constant reminder of the impermanence of glory, of the delicate balance between favor and repudiation. As twilight envelops the royal city, casting shadows upon the palace's magnificence, you regroup, drawing inward the lessons learned through this journey of prestige, intertwined with peril. You realize each commission extends beyond simple creation into an exploration and negotiation of identity, both of the creator and the sovereign served. Amid the folds of night, you prepare to retire alongside the realm's elaborate tapestry, ever mindful of tales unsung, always enriched by the resonant echoes marking these privileged yet turbulent relationships. In this ever-evolving world, remember that being a goldsmith among royals encapsulates a dichotomia dance as timeless as the goldsmith's art itself, poised exquisitely between illumination and shadow. Allow these relationships to rest firmly as your companions, guides to the labyrinth of gold's gleam against the chiaroscuro of sovereignty, each dependent upon the tenuous string of mastery and monarchy. Let these threads intertwine with your dreams, whispering tales unsung and unknown as we stride ever onward into the woven pathways of yore. As you navigate the complex web of relationships and power dynamics surrounding the medieval goldsmith, you find yourself immersed in the fluctuating and ever-demanding world of patronage. Here, the balance between pleasing wealthy patrons and retaining one's artistic integrity is a constant, struggly, delicate dance of compromise and subtle rebellion encoded within each commissioned piece. Patronage serves as the goldsmith's bread and butter, a lifeline in the unpredictable economic tides of the medieval market. Yet, it also serves as a mechanism of control, a method by which patrons exercise influence over the artistic process, often dictating not just the subject but the style, materials, and methods employed in creation. Imagine yourself seated opposite a patron, fingers brushing along sketches as they dictate each desired aspect of the commission. You are not just crafting a work of art, you're creating an extension of the patron's will and ego. The challenge lies not just in technical execution, but in navigating the complex interplay of demands with tact and charm, demonstrating your ability to meet their expectations without stifling your creative voice. For some patrons, art serves as a reflection of self, an aspiration for posthumous glory. Each piece must shout the patron's virtues, allegiances, and power. Goldsmiths often find themselves as translators of ambition, turning lofty ideals into glittering reality, working under the glaring eye of scrutiny. Patronage, therefore, isn't simply about art, it's about legacy. But what happens when an artisan's vision conflicts with a patron's demands? Here arises the goldsmith's dilemma. Remain true to your craft, or yield to the commission's expectations. Masterpieces soar not on pure genius alone, but through calculated negotiations and sometimes clever subversions. One sly flourish, a secret signature hidden in ornamentation, becomes the goldsmith's own declaration of mastery. Tales abound of those who spurned patron demands too openly, their once favoring patrons turning spiteful. The risk requires discretion, for a patron scorned can wield influence as powerfully as a blade, potentially ending a career amidst whispers of discontent and betrayal. Yet, the tales of triumph are equally compelling where artistic integrity charmed patrons into acceptance, even admiration. A quirky niche exists within this dynamic small private commissions, where the relationship between goldsmith and patron could often become intimate alliances. These were opportunities for unfettered expression, where trust fostered collaborative creation, where a glimmer of innovation could flourish within gilded frameworks. In navigating these partnerships, goldsmiths learn the art of empathy, becoming confidants who interpret emotions and desires through gold and gemstone. It is this ability to truly listen, to understand the unspoken aspirations behind spoken requests, that elevates a goldsmith from mere craftsman to cherished ally. Even within this fluctuating relationship, one encounters the unequal dimensions of dependence. Some historians argue whether patronage, through its constraints, paved a clear path for the Renaissance, or whether it hindered innovation for centuries. Was the patron-goldsmith dynamic merely utilitarian, or did it challenge and refine the creative process itself? What is known is that through limitation, artisans honed instincts that birthed miracles of delicate craftsmanship. One notable commission, the creation of funeral effigies, encapsulates this duality of service and creation. Imagine crafting pieces meant to last through eternity, marked with careful reverence yet tempered by the knowledge of impermanence. You become both memorialist and historian, shaping memories under constraints that resurrects images of the departed with love laid bare upon golden effigies. As evening descends upon the medieval city and torches flicker in their sconces, this tale of patronage continues its slow, steady thread through history. With each commission, it whispers a story of ambition and discretion, shaped by the goldsmith's unyielding hand, even when molded by external force. With these guiding principles in mind, reflect upon the labyrinth of patronage, a path festooned with both camaraderie and caution. Strength lies in embracing the dual challenge of the goldsmith's plighter. Ceaseless service to ambition and beauty, mindful always of both patron and passion. Drift into rest assured by the equilibrium found in craft wedged between constraint and liberation, a reality that shapes each gleaming gem under the moon's forgiving gaze. The fortunes and livelihoods of medieval goldsmiths didn't exist in a vacuum. They were inextricably tied to the turbulent ebbs and flows of the time's economy. As you delve further into this world, picture an intricate web of economic ups and downs weaving through the life of every goldsmith, creating both opportunities and perils in equal measure. Imagine entering your workshop one brisk morning to find your usual stock of gold and precious stones priced far beyond your reach, a direct consequence of political turmoil, failed harvests, or war that disrupt trade routes. The goldsmith is, after all, bound by the whims of availability and affordability, a captive to supply and demand long before these were concepts to be studied and debated. During periods of prosperity, the demand for luxury goods soars, and commissions flow into the workshop, bringing a sense of security. Clients, intoxicated by newfound wealth, seek to immortalize their status through dazzling adornments, enlisting the goldsmith's expertise to craft narratives in metal and jewel. Your work, shimmering brightly in banquet halls and royal courts, becomes a beacon of societal standing, the prized artifact of cloth-draped nobles. In these times, each stroke of chisel and flame is a song of triumph, and your skills are celebrated through the patronage of the affluent. But economic prosperity is often fleeting, and just as quickly, plummets into periods of stagnation and scarcity arise. In these times, the goldsmith must be resourceful, adapting to the changing winds and finding ways to keep the forge alive. The question of quality often gives way to survival, leading to innovative recycling of materials or alternate methods of work that may compromise the envisioned elegance, yet preserve continuity within the craft. Here inside lies paradox. In the throes of wealth's decline, the creative spirit often brightens. Imagine reworking forgotten heirlooms into discreet omens of hope, or crafting pieces with hidden compartments to hold secret messages within their delicate scroll. In downturns, the goldsmith often finds the liberty to experiment, students of necessity, developing techniques that will later catch even the light against glinting prosperity. Stories filtered through time evoke the cyclical nature nature of these fluctuations of artisans, all but towering amidst green pastures, or staring at empty coffers, recollecting echoes of ancestral lessons on enduring humility. Some historians argue about the impact of these mercurial cycles as instigators of transformative art, or merely as a hindrance to stability. Did they curtail artistic freedom, or did they breed resilience and adaptability within crafts? Interpretations, like economic trends, drift and reassemble as opinion sways. Occasionally you witness uncanny outcomes brought forth from economic quagmires, including coin clipping or debasement, processes both provocative and practical in leaner times. Some goldsmiths, viewed by law as keepers of standards, find themselves in possession of arcane knowledge to subtly doctor coinage's purity. A grey ariato, those afflicted with poverty, seemed like a necessary maneuver. Moreover, external forces beyond one's control plagues, wars, the shifting alliances of monarchs echo through the trade, altering priorities and patrons. But the goldsmith remains steadfast, pivoting as softness in bent metal, adapting processes and priorities amidst society's turmoil. In times of suspension, when old orders crumble, artistry rises to enkindle hope anew. Reflecting on these cycles, you find honor in this struggly testament to resilience that individuals displayed, tweaking and tempering their relationship to prosperity, like lifting gilded cheer from base metals. Through the tender limits of each era, goldsmiths earned a quiet legacy, one that unburdened speaks to strengths discovered through constraint. As the stars wheel into night's embrace, and the constellations trace stories across a sleepy sky, pause here. Become part of this exquisite chain, linking past to future a lineage, fortified by those who blazed a brighter path through hardship and fortune, each supported by the metal's subtle sheen. In this legacy, you find a comforting truth. The goldsmith's resilience shines brighter than the gold they shape, encircled by an enduring light that navigates the cyclical tides. May you sleep now, ensconced in this tale of prosperity and perseverance, for at dawn you shall rise to walk again among residents of gold's beckoning glow and the perpetual cycle of creation, guided by echoes that resound through time, leaving traces of triumph upon the shore. As you continue your exploration of the medieval goldsmith's world, an inescapable reality presents itself: the relentless grip of taxation. This economic constant, much like the burning fervor of the forge, casts a long and unyielding shadow over the artisan's life. Let's delve into the world where taxation, trials, and tribulations slowly sculpt the lives of those who craft the very essence of wealth. Imagine a scene where, amid the rhythmic hammering of metal and the soft hiss of the molten gold, a knock at the workshop door tips the balance of a day's work. The tax collector stands in the doorway, ledger in hand, the embodiment of the crown's ever-present claim over your earnings. Taxes, much like the demands of patrons, are inevitabilities unwelcome yet unavoidable. The marketplace is alive, with a symphony of commerce, yet for the goldsmith, each clink of coin rings with the awareness of its destined reduction. Taxes levied on goldsmiths are expansive, from standard payments expected by the crown to local tithes and guild fees. The goldsmith, in this instance, must utilize savvy financial acumen to navigate the labyrinth, ensuring the scales tip neither too far toward opulence nor too far toward destitution. Enter the paradox of taxation. Even as a creator of luxury, you are constantly assessed for your association with wealth rather than your actual prosperity. Between the cost of materials, overheads, guild dues, and personal expenses, the administrative burden can feel overwhelming, more so in times of turbulence when rates fluctuate violently with political or economic instability. The tax collector's presence in your workshop serves both as a reminder and a possibility, a chance to finagle terms less damning or to verify records relating to production and income. Many goldsmiths find themselves as adept negotiators as they are artisans, deftly balancing the demands on each sheet of parchment with the burns of molten mistakes. A peculiar element emerges here. Within this taxing conundrum, the idea of craftsmanship's value as a currency of negotiation. In some instances, the creation of gifts or embellishments for powerful magistrates or guild leaders could translate into favor, offering temporary respite from relentless demands. These gifts, while legally unquestioned, represented a delicate art form of tacit bribery, ensuring collectors' favoritism in the ledger's balance. Historians still argue whether such practices were as common as folklore suggests, or whether most goldsmiths maintained scrupulous adherence to tax mandates. Nevertheless, tales of artisans riding the thin edge of law and grace speak volumes of resourcefulness tested within limited means. Is this practice opportunistic or strategic creativity? The debate still dances across history's realms. In quieter quarters, whispered conversations speak of goldsmiths, tasked with the weighty chore of valuing and verifying payments, tacit acknowledgement of their expertise. Yet, these assessments often lead to disputes where valuation becomes contentious, placing them in tenuous positions between client and crown, their impartiality tested values against ingrained loyalties. Yet, the necessity of taxation's relentless drumbeat inspires further innovation. Crafty solutions emerge, passing single commissions through multiple hands or cleverly tweaking materials costs to shield the bottom line. Some develop ingenious methods, like hollow items or replicated molds, reducing precious material output while benefiting from doubled value. Even now, curious records of appropriate inflation endure as art entities' phantom legends. When night falls and the goldsmith, ledger in hand, pore over numbers in vain of quiet resolution, realize they represent more than tally calls. They trace daily survival's answer against adversity's tide. These burdens beyond just financial services, akin to fire's tempering, forging ferrous mixture stronger through continuous demand. As you close the day, feeling the weight of these political economic trials simmering alongside artisan legacy, allow your thoughts to drift toward the hundreds before you who navigated the same corridors yet carved their craft in resilience's unfaltering embrace. Remember, the goldsmith's life, steeped in self-imposed and external challenges, embraces adaptation, whether through forge's fire or taxation's tithe. Rest contented, for nestled within are promises and potential waiting to emerge into stone's resistance, shaping destinies that defy temporal strictures, glinting always in candlelight's quiet devotion, carrying forward their story in timeless inscrutiny, as craft and time unspool onwards to brand new chapters, each awaiting discovery. As dawn breaks over medieval towns and cities, the goldsmith prepares not only for the steady rhythm of the workshop, but also for the possibility of travel and trade. In this rich tapestry of medieval life, trade routes wind through landscapes both picturesque and perilous, from bustling mercantile hubs to the hushed danger of wilderness pathways. Imagine yourself laden with wares, standing at the cusp of a journey that promises fortune but teeters on the brink of misfortune. As a goldsmith, the prospect of travel offers both opportunities and challenges, a chance to expand your horizons and clientele by participating in fairs or meeting with distant patrons. It is the lifeblood of commerce and creativity, giving rise to alliances and innovations that weave their way delicately through artistry. While the prospect of trade opens doorways to exotic goods and new techniques from afar, it is not without risk. Every map you study over candlelight is punctuated by the unknown, the looming threat of bandits, untamed terrains, and political borders as fickle as the shifting sands. The medieval world is one of duality, where promise and peril vie for dominance with each step along ancient roads. The caravan stops at local taverns or bustling market squares resound with tales of fellow travelers, each recounting adventures that carry hints of far-off lands where alchemists brood upon secrets and artisans conjure mystical designs from silken cocoons. Here, you barter and trade knowledge as deftly as goods, ever curious about the stories hidden within gilded trinkets or the subtle curve of ceramic artistry. Trade fairs become a crucible of innovation, a place where ideas and influences converge. You, along with other artisans, bring your own skilled trades to bear against a backdrop of vibrant exchanges. These fairs are more than mere commerce. They are festivals of creativity, where new styles emerge from the crucible of competitive collaboration, sparking trends that will eventually meander back into distant workshops. Historians still argue whether these gatherings played a pivotal role in advancing craftsmanship, or if they simply epitomized existing cultural exchanges. Yet, the calling of these marketplaces resonates through time, offering a testament to trade's unstoppable momentum in crafting shared legacies. They were melting pots of ingenious whispers that would carve intriguing paths through the known world. And then there are tales, rich and peculiar, of incredible journeys where goldsmiths endure peril and find wonders worth the trek. Did you hear the one where a Persian silk indelibly impressed itself upon an artisan's consciousness at a Constantinople bazaar, weaving its patterns back into European grandiosity? Or perhaps craftiness like the creation of hidden lockboxes merged from necessity come innovation as traders dodged the ever-present threat of rogue hands turning treasure to spoil. Equally intriguing are clandestine exchanges that mirror the Silk Road's shadow-cutting alliances unknown to zealous kings and merchants, bartering intelligence wrapped clandestinely within a golden cloak, hand-delivered by itinerant artisans, to hands less set on ostentation than opportunity. The journey back to your workshop is as laden as the outward journey. You're richer, not just in coin, but in something far more valuable: insight, inspiration, and the vitality of shared human experience. You return not just with materials, but with new dreams to stoke your fires, leaving trails scored in cultural exchange through quiet ash maps scattered among workshops echoing with your stories. As twilight paints the swathes of fading landscape, recognize that trade and travel have spun tales within the goldsmith legacy, tantalizing in its turn. Each journey carves a fresh chapter in the historic tome, nudging perceptions of crafts forward into a future held balanced by ideas exchanged against the firmament of everyday art. Let sleep now encircle the borders of curiosity, to reawaken wrapped in shadows anew as dawn's rays stretch outward from hallowed horizons. With each morning breathes opportunity, where history's eternal journey shall continue displaying mortal echoes, shimmering in gilded memories, spun from Earth's countless epochs unfolding. Journey well into the fabric of dreams, dear traveller, for roads await your footsteps upon waking light. In the echoing halls of the medieval goldsmith's workshop, secrets linger like the warm glow of molten metal. Whispers fill the air, not just of the work at hand, but the unseen, unspoken tales woven into the very fabric of the trade. Welcome to the world of scandalous secrets of the workshopper, place where the lines between craft, mystery, and intrigue blur. Imagine a space where artisans cluster, their workstations a jumble of tools and treasures, where each piece of gold holds not only value, but a hidden history known to only a few. In this artisanal cocoon, the bonds formed between craftsmen are as strong as the materials they manipulate. Yet, beneath the camaraderie, unspoken tensions simmer, waiting for a spark. In the close quarters of the workshop, the days accumulate stories untold. Consider the apprentice sneaking a glance beyond master's shoulders, plotting designs meriting more than mere imitation. In the shadow of the forge, they might find themselves entangled with rivalry's own moment-evoking laughter. The next, a spark among creative fires, capable of igniting discord. Goldsmiths, for all their skill and prowess, are men of flesh and folly, privy to temptations that hang as heavily as gilded pendants. These workshops, aspiring toward artistic perfection, become hotbeds of mundane intrigue. Each whisper of novel techniques is worth its weight in gold. Each innovative method a potential game-changer all jealously guarded. Throughout these interactions float stories of lesser-discussed escapades, youthful indiscretions, and revelries that sting with alchemical concoctions pressed too freely upon alehouse bars. There are sly sleights of hand and bold declarations, the welcome camaraderie twinned with envious suspicion. Quirky alliances form, factions split over designs lost, and bravado challenged, yet these tales weave into the intriguing narrative of the Goldsmiths' Guild. Consider also a peculiar tale, perhaps apocryphal. A goldsmith, obsessed with his master's techniques, forges a counterfeit hallmark, a crime punishable by more than expulsion, and yet is pardoned when recanted before his guild. The relenting highlights influence whispering through the mix, the tension binding secrets readily, realities made available at fire's altar but unclaimed in gloomy shadows. Historians still argue whether these stories stemmed merely from rivalries or if whispers drove vital innovation as goldsmiths strove to one-up each other creatively. What truth lies behind gossip's woven tales? The debate lingers in corridors where history's shadows play. For deep inside these whispers, you'll find whispered secrets tantamount. Chests within hidden compartments evoking astonishment. Secret smiles of those who recognized masterpieces, cloaking subversive allegories exchanged beyond courts. Understanding such currents rewards those keen enough to flourish on their own terms. Who could forget that recital of a lost technique, graciously recovered at the behest of a favored client, whispered to all who dared listen through ember glows quieted by revealing winds? And there are the silent scandals unto legacy, the illicit commissions, dalliances known yet unseen, absences, and adultery counting less in propriety, provided genius breathes masterpiece, unseen compasses, shielded inside work's polished purview, factions aplenty among artisans. As darkness settles beyond fragrant walls, softened imaginations recognize these stories, unsung but meticulously threaded by human caprice and aversion. One's trust, or blithe indulgence, echoes promise or whisper through guild circles, condoned at need's convenience. Even instruments wrest singular pass from pastimes. Thus, as you drift into evening's embrace, understand every story's layer conceals more yet unsaid, illustratively, cast before starlight. Knowing gold's fire is emboldened through connection. Alive in thrones, along evoked vignettes, loosely coaxed across precious dips into scandal-spun causeways, shifting spectrums wide demanded. Rest here, dear traveller, amid these spinning fragments of mortar and myths under night's gentle arch, finding insights thus alive within these ancient halls, weaving myths amongst fine strands, spectral embrace, drawing beauty anew, across thought reclaimed through ever-turning light. In the sprawling chronicles of medieval life, the role of women often exists in the periphery, overshadowed by their male counterparts. Yet, within the intricate tapestry of the goldsmith's world, women played roles that, while sometimes hidden, were undoubtedly significant. As we continue our journey, we'll illuminate the challenging yet pivotal positions women occupied in this male-dominated trade. Imagine a bustling workshop, the rhythmic pounding of hammers echoing alongside the low murmur of voices discussing the day's tasks. Within this environment, women navigate the narrow corridors, their presence both acknowledged and overlooked. They might be wives, daughters, or sisters of master goldsmiths, intricately weaving their own skills into the fabric of daily operations. Women often manage the business side of workshops, wielding ledger books with as much dexterity as any craftsman with a chisel. They orchestrated the logistics of supplies and sales, balancing accounts, negotiating with suppliers, and sometimes even handling customers. In this sphere, they pioneered a crucial dimension of the trade, their contributions ensuring smooth operation beneath the thrum of creativity. Picture a young girl, watching her father or brother with wide-eyed fascination, gradually learning the craft through quiet observation and occasional tasks. Over time, she absorbs the secrets of metallurgy, of inlaying precious stones and crafting delicate filigree. Through osmosis, she becomes adept, her hands moving gracefully over gold and silver, despite society's strictures. But the path to recognition remains fraught with societal constraint. Unlike their male counterparts, women struggle against rigid social conventions, constantly seeking to affirm their skills in a world where only men are expected to excel in such trades. Opportunities to become recognized as master goldsmiths were rare, leaving many women's contributions verbally unacknowledged despite their profound influence. Historians still argue whether the contributions of women in this sphere were pivotal or peripheral, an unseen hand, steadying the ship, or a mere curiosity within the narrative of power. Yet, evidence points to their undeniable impact, particularly within family-run workshops where roles intermingled seamlessly. In some instances, women fiercely defied societal norms by establishing reputations based purely on their craftsmanship. These were rare but remarkable stories defying expectation, bringing a flash of color to otherwise monochrome historical depictions. The annals mention, for those who look closely, stories of remarkable, anonymous women crafting with grit and grace alongside fathers or husbands, occasionally ascending to authorship. Consider the peculiar tale of a woman who, during her itinerant husband's absence, assumed command over the family workshop, not just maintaining, but expanding its clientele. Her unauthorized rise later became a story more widespread than any tales of itinerant journeymen. With each transaction, she inscribed her presence on history's scrolls, unpicking conventionality's binding threads. The stories extend beyond mere tasks. Inventions sometimes bore women's invisible signatures, whether through recommending techniques or solutions to specific problems peculiar to working with gold, or through crafting their discreet yet indomitable legacy. The spectrum was broader than recompense recognized. Even beyond the workshop, women engaged in the arts necessary to the craft, such as the preparation of specialized fabrics used in artistry or banquets, introducing innovations in design and taste. Their keen perceptions informed the more significant aesthetic discourse of the time, often heralding shifts reflecting broader societal change. As shadows fade into the darker folds of history, the flicker of a forge light casts illumination not just on the pieces it creates, but on the stories of those who have toiled unseen alongside it. Women, creators hidden within the folds of society's restrictions, nevertheless wove their subtle narrative into the workshop's loom in ways whispered through metal's glowing latticework. Allow yourself to dream further within these corridors, where stories of women's dedication, curiosity, and quiet strength create echoes, resonating brightly across the passage of centuries. In an age sometimes seen as constrained, recognize the incremental steps toward unfurling potential and influence, stretching toward modern craftsmanship's vibrant realities. As night covers these gilded workshops under celestial tapestry, honor the women's contributions, and let their unnamed stories guide new sagas radiant and compelling, cascading through restful dreams. Embrace their voices, reflecting ever-original and enduring shadows charmingly alive along human history's coarse-textured yet beautiful vista. As you delve further into the rich narrative labyrinth of the medieval goldsmith's life, you'll encounter the curious intertwining of fact and fantasia realm, where goldsmiths flirted with the mysteries of alchemy, enticed by the prospect of transforming base metals into gold. This chapter in our journey through history delves into alchemy myths and realities, where science, magic, and artistry blurred distinctions. Picture a dimly lit corner of a workshop where, amid the steady rhythm of hammers and the dull shine of precious metals, a goldsmith dabbles with flasks and crucibles, chasing dreams of turning lead into gold. The notion of alchemy holds sway over the medieval imagination, promising not just wealth, but the existence of the elusive philosopher's stone, a mythical talisman that could provide eternal life and the ability to transmute any substance into pure gold. While primarily known for their skill in crafting tangible beauty, many goldsmiths indulge fantasies fueled by alchemical texts brought from the East or whispered through the courts. These worn manuscripts, sprinkled with cryptic symbols and fervent promises, serve as both inspiration and distraction, fostering a yearning as bright as the metals they mold. Historians argue whether these pursuits sprang from genuine scientific curiosity or from a deeper emotional drive, an eternal quest for mastery, perhaps, or a search for simplicity turned divine. Within the workshop, alchemy becomes a secretive, obsessionsome goldsmiths experiment privately, concocting curious metals in the dead of night amid soft flickers of candlelight. While their primary tasks center on accepted metallurgy, a subgroup takes tender steps into speculative territory, blending artisanal expertise with nascent chemistry's allure. Yet, as philosophical possibilities expand, the goldsmith must navigate a cultural landscape steeped in skepticism and orthodoxy. Society views alchemy with a mix of awe and suspicion, often deriding practitioners as charlatans meddling with forces beyond their comprehension. The goldsmith, therefore, maintains a delicate balance between practical craft and speculative experimentation, lest they invite ecclesiastical furor or itinerary suspicions upon themselves. There's an air of romance about alchemical practices, which resonates through time. Tales of experimentation, a bound-on goldsmith, emboldened by arcane education and inspiration gleaned from church trips, attempts to construct golden chalices from simple copper. Another records his formula in glyphs, hidden jealously atop a mantle's hollowed bust, never publicly revealed, but shaping whispers of intrigue. It's worth noting that not all forays into alchemy bore fruit. Many a fool's gold gleamed brightly under flickering torchlight, only to reveal its falsehood by morning. But, every now and then, through alchemy's convoluted discourse, bursts of inspiration led to genuine metallurgical discoveries that advanced the fields of chemistry and metallurgy. Accidental innovations, birthed of ambition and longing. Amidst the tales of visionary alchemy are curious folk narratives, the fantastical mixtures derived from mythos, much like the one insisting distilled crocodile dung could amplify gold's luster. These stories spread through regions like wildfire, each tale imbued with a peculiar impossibility restrained by imagination. As you stand in this twilight of belief and banter, reflect on the points where curiosity eclipses limitation, and appreciate the goldsmith's willingness to embrace pursuits beyond the tangible. Their dalliances with alchemy serve not just as pursuits of material transformation, but as endeavors of hopeful exploration, reflections of mankind's desire to unravel mysteries. As evening thickens, shadowed figures remain poised upon the intersection of fact and legend, balancing desire with duty. You understand that the true philosopher's stone may have always been the goldsmith's craft itself, a practice that endlessly transforms the mundane into moments of luminous wonder, perpetually instilling enchantment into tradition. Wandering further into these thoroughfares of myth and ambition, the goldsmith's narrative unspools onward, testament to history's promises, half-blinked amid dream-woven realities. Each revelation and revelation echoed within night's recessive embrace, where dreams settle aloft amidst clouds spun from memory's gilded edge. Let your rest welcome shades of this delicate magic, framing your imagination in accord with humanity's brilliant potential. As we journey further into the realm of medieval goldsmiths, we come upon the hidden corners of history where unsung heroes and unpolished legends reside, stories of endeavors that never witnessed the celebrated light of day, creations that failed or faded into obscurity before their time. Here you find tales of lost goldsmiths, those whose extraordinary visions were overshadowed by the relentless march of history. Imagine a narrow street flanked by a congregation of workshops, each a crucible of ambition, whispered innovation, and unyielding toil. Amongst them, individuals craft diligently, their hands bearing witness to the meticulous conviction that not all contributions will shine brightly in the annals of achievement. Enter the realm of the untold, where efforts, while fervent and imaginative, remain largely forgotten. In every generation, there are those goldsmiths whose work stands apart, fascinating and eccentric expressions of artistry that, for a myriad of reasons, never achieved the acclaim they perhaps deserved. Some labored in obscurity due to the strictures of societal norms or guilds' conservative ethos, while others simply fell victim to the caprices of fortune and time. Picture a visionary goldsmith, perhaps inspired by alchemical motifs or exotic influences, attempting to carve a bold new path in design. They dream of taking the traditional craftsmanship to new artistic heights, employing materials with rich symbolism and elaborate processes. Yet, the temper of the times curbs their flights of fancy. Their works, though breathtaking in concept, are dismissed for daring to stray beyond convention. Each of these forgotten artisans carved headlines in their hidden workshops, stringing stories of ingenuity often eclipsed by more renowned counterparts, or by the tastes of patrons who favored the familiar over the novel. In some cases, their innovations were simply ahead of their time, waiting for future epochs to appreciate and recognize their pioneering genius. There are stories, too, of creations that never came to fruition due to the instability and unpredictability of medieval life. Wars, plagues, and economic collapses scattered artisans and swept away workshops. Undefined boundaries took tangible form, snuffing out lives and desires, untimely rendering masterpieces as forgotten traces amid dust and decay. Their legacies linger only in cryptic notations or family stories masked beneath gilded heirlooms. Historians often debate how much of this overlooked creativity remains lost to time, buried beneath layers of forgotten parchment and decaying timber. Was the transient silence of genius a result of society's myopic gaze, or was it an inevitable consequence of broader historical forces? This question flickers like embers around a dying fire. In the undercurrents of tales, untold, lay the whisperings of extraordinary nuances, tools invented but unused, techniques experienced yet unsung. There was the goldsmith who devised new methods of granulation, but found no patrons willing to champion their intricacy. Others crafted jewelry imbued with esoteric meaning, their resonance understood only by the few, open to unconventional clarity. Unpolished legends can sometimes re-emerge, risen like phantoms from history's depths, resurfacing in the treasure troves of old manuscripts or the unlikely find of rural collectors. These discoveries captivate and inspire a new appreciation for what was nearly forgotten, hinting at the tapestry of brilliance interwoven through time. As the day wavers into twilight, shadows stretching like emissaries of antiquity, think on those who, despite remaining largely unrecognized, contributed richly to the fabric of craftsmanship, a fabric textured with ambition, accident, and abandoned enchantment alike. These artisans remind us that not all achievements are born to the acclaim of trumpets, but can echo silently through the corridors of time, etching their impact beyond immediate perception. In their quiet refrain of persistence and imagination, the soulful hum of splendor blends with the echo of their resolve, guiding thoughts ever onward toward dreams unmet, as yet unsung. Drift now into softer landscapes woven with inspiration anew, guided by unsurfaced legends' tender illumination dawning from history's uncharted depths, waiting to inspire anew under night's serene, celestial embrace. In the medieval goldsmith's intricate world, every piece of crafted jewelry carries a narrative far beyond its visual splendor. Here lies the language of icons, where each design is not just an aesthetic triumph, but a complex tapestry of symbols and meanings. As we enter this realm, you'll step into a world where artistry and coded language intertwine, crafting tales that transcend the barriers of time and space. Imagine an intricately wrought brooch resting in your hands, its surface bedecked with an array of motifs, each line and curve rich with intent. This is no mere ornament. It is a conversation held in gold and gemstone, a testament to the beliefs, affiliations, and aspirations of those who commission it. The goldsmith, in this context, becomes more than an artisanthe, or a storyteller, etching epics in precious metal. In the flickering glow of the workshop's candles, symbols come alive. The heraldic designs flourish with the energy of ancestral tales, while religious iconography sings hymns in the language of faith. Personal emblems tell stories of love, loyalty, and lineage, each piece an intricate script awaiting decoding by those steeped in their subtleties. Consider a ring bearing the image of a lion, regal and poised. Beyond its immediate beauty, it draws from deep wells of meaning, a symbol of strength, courage, and royalty. Paired with sapphires, its blue hue speaks of virtue and wisdom, offering not just a piece of finery, but a glimpse into the core identity of its bearer. For the goldsmith, the design process is akin to orchestrating a symphony. Each element must harmonize to produce a tale that resonates with the patron's desires. The choice of metal, the cut of a gem, and the minutiae of etching all combine to create a coherent message. This is storytelling in its most tactile form, a silent dialogue inscribed upon gold, accessible to those who know the language. This symbolic tradition is less about constraint than it is about creativity, pushing the boundaries of what can be communicated without uttering a single word. Some artisans take the opportunity to insert subtle innuendos, their work a quiet rebellion or nuanced criticism, sometimes weaving in details that only a select few would understand. It's an exercise in dexterity of both hand and mind. Historians still debate whether these pieces served more as straightforward displays of identity or as complex religious and social commentary. Is an enameled chalice merely a testament to wealth, or does it hide subtle criticisms of ruling systems or foreign allegiances? This scholarly inquiry continues, anchored to the enigmatic charm intrinsic to medieval adornment. Quirks and peculiarities also thrive in these artistic dialogues. Elaborate designs might hide personal anecdotes or playful jests, like tiny figures ensconced in miniature landscapes, half hidden from view yet radiating charm. Whispered tales suggest pieces with commissioners' spirit animals or astrological signs incorporated within them, linking earthbound creations to celestial influences. Languages once inscribed into precious relics occasionally reappear, their maps illuminating past paths through land transformed into discovery by history's evolving interests. From trinkets providing insight into daily joys to intricate pendants detailing complex narratives, the jewels' value lies not solely in their opulence, but in their complexity of meaning decoding, which grants a window into culture and belief. As you let your eyes wander upon these pieces, explore the relationships between reality and design, shifting perspectives towards understanding modular constructions, gingerly arranged. Recognize in each detail, each precise cut, the artisan's challenge and triumph over the limitations of matter, delving into time's river to capture its essence. Let the allure of icons guide imagination's birthwards within their varied interpretations, knowing beneath each surface gleams the captivation of unsaid marvels, misunderstood glimpses recaptured anew. Allow the day's endeavors to gradually blend into night's embrace, guiding thoughts tenderly quiet alongside tales rediscoverable through jewels' profound cadence. Rest within dreams gilded to evoke spectres previously unexplored, revealing wisdom submerged beneath, diminished sound vastness within pocketed detail, whispers trembling across conjoined ages. Journey on, reflect and reimagine. Textural adventures grasp an inner knowing. Between the grinding toil of the goldsmith's daily life lies moments of celebration, where the craftsman's skill is not only acknowledged but exalted. Welcome to the festivals of Finesse, those rare occasions where the air is charged with revelry and the workshop takes on a new roleone of showcase and spectacle against the backdrop of medieval festivity. Picture a bustling medieval town square, garlanded with vibrant colour as vendors and artisans gather, their stalls brimming with goods that glitter under the rare indulgence of sunlight. Among them, you find goldsmiths displaying their finest creations, the fruits of countless hours of labour. These public exhibitions are not merely a marketplace, but also a theatre of skill and artistry, a chance for artisans to step into the limelight and bask in much-deserved recognition. The festivals are more than just commercial enterprises. They are grand occasions where the town gathers in a communal celebration of crafts and culture. Music fills the air, mingling with the enticing aromas of roasted meats and spiced ales. Revellers don their finest garb, each step on cobblestone paths echoing the vibrant pulse of the festivities. It is a carnival of creativity, where the boundaries between patron and artisan blur into shared appreciation. For the goldsmith, these festivals offer much-needed respite from the confines of their workshop. Here, they are free to mingle with peers, to exchange ideas and techniques over flagons of ale. It is a time for boasting and banter, where rivalries are joined in friendly competition, and innovation is sparked by the nearness of like minds. The atmosphere is a fertile ground for inspiration. As dusk falls and torches flare to life, the festival continues with renewed fervour, each stall radiating a warm glow. Under the flitting shadows of flickering light, goldsmiths showcase their most intricate works necklaces, with cascading designs, rings that wear stories within their stones, chalices that seem almost alive with filigree. These are not just items, they are declarations of mastery, pieces that whisper tales transcended through time. Historians examine whether these festivals truly revolutionized craftsmanship or simply reflected the skills honed away in quiet solitude. Was the goldsmith's renown elevated by public acclaim, or did it remain bound to the more intimate exchanges within guild halls? Regardless of scholars' deliberations, these celebrations embody a pivotal social function, reinforcing communal bonds between artisans and patrons alike. Quirky anecdotes abound in the annals of such spirited gatherings, reminiscent of competitions where the ingenuity of craftsmen astounded all. One famous tale tells of goldsmiths participating in challenges of dexterity, crafting miniature scenes within impossibly small lockets, or binding secrets within the latticework of a bracelet. Such feats brought awed gasps from crowds, and affirmed the magic that seasoned goldsmithing avoided monotony's shackles. These occasions also serve as a crossroads, where tradition and innovation converge. The work presented might echo centuries-old techniques or boldly forge new paths, the old and new intertwining in a sparkling dance that reflects the lively spirit of the festival. In this vibrant setting, patrons might commission new projects, inspired by what they've seen, providing further lifeblood for the arts. Moving through the bustling throng, pausing to admire a particular piece or catch an artisan's eye, there's a deep sense of belonging. You are part of a continuum that stretches back through history, a tapestry, woven from the myriad threads of skill, dedication, and the unquenchable pursuit of beauty. This tapestry doesn't end with the setting sun, but continues to flourish as generations embrace the call of artistry. As the festival winds down, and the last strains of music fade into the cool night air, golden echoes remain within the hearts of those who came seeking magic among the stalls. For the goldsmith, the festival is more than a mere celebration. It's a confirmation, a reminder why they labor on through the night, bringing visions to life one intricately etched line at a time. Allow yourself the joy of these fleeting whispers spilling over into dreamscapes resplendent, welcoming festival bounty, emboldened by the forge's glow. Let these echoes of artistry nourish your heart as morning's light emerges anew, guiding steps forth along craftsmanship's storied channel where masterpieces continue to thrive, always gathering momentum within history's embrace. As you navigate the rich tapestry of the medieval goldsmith's world, deeper questions emerge, those of ethics and morality. Here is where the ethical dilemmas of the craft come to light, not merely in the materials used, but in the very essence of the art itself. The gold you mold into objects of beauty holds deeper connotations, raising questions that linger like the gold dust settling from the air. The process of creation, with all its drama and detail, isn't just an act of labor, it's an act of choice. Each decision, every design etched, every stone set reflects not only the goldsmith's skill but their values and judgments. You stand before the forge, not just a craftsman, but a philosopher confined in metals, pondering the paradox of value and virtue in a world where luxury and necessity collide. Consider the sourcing of materials themselves, a complex web, in an age where exotic gems traveled great distances along trade routes fraught with danger and exploitation. For the goldsmith, every gem and ingot carries unseen stories of lands far away and the hands through which they passed. The origins of materials, clouded with ethical ambiguity, raise the question how much of their legacy is intertwined with the narrative of conquest and colonization. You sift through fragments of ethological theories as you craft pieces for patrons of varying moral standings. The nobility who commission such works may be embroiled in deeds less noble, their wealth a product not just of inheritance but of authoritative might. Goldsmiths must navigate these choppy waters, balancing personal morals against the demands of a livelihood that relies on ingrained systems of power. For the artisans, ethical dilemmas arise in the dual nature of beauty, its power to inspire and its potential to deceive. In an age where appearances often mask intentions, you wonder about the balance in embellishing truth versus fabricating facades. Do the glittering pendants adorning a dignitary's neck speak more to worth than the lineage or valor such symbols espouse? Historians often grapple with whether the artistry of the time upheld the values of the culture or subverted them. Did the goldsmith contribute to the idealization of figures who shaped the world they knew, or did they subtly weave critique into their craft, an allegory of silent dissent woven into the gold itself? The debate echoes through time, a reflection of perpetual questions about art's place in the dialogue of ethics. These dilemmas reel gently alongside personal conflicts faced when designs of divine likenesses are meticulously etched. The alchemy of sanctity and skepticism manifests within, as fame and favor mingle among whispered corners, seeking the sanctified aura these creations empower. From afar, ever watchful, patrons hope not just for radiant aura, but faith-reflected finery. Consider also the quirk of craftsmanship, tale mingling humor with ethics. Stories speak of apprentices who molded mismatched sets simply to showcase incongruity. These intentional errors draw attention to their absurdity, highlighting the disparity between observed declarations and harbored notions, unraveling judgment beneath craftsmanship's surface. For your task, as you know, is not to conclude, but ponder through practice and reflection, harmonizing artistry and integrity, realizing prior significance's revelations often cloak further questions alone. Here, amid the ovoids, lies a conjoined echoing of honesty versus duplicity, resplendence alongside reserve, daring allied concurrently with discretion. Through such queries gently patterned by forges whispering lullabies, you comprehend choices lay as tangible as etched filigree in every project wrought, every journey through curves finely honed for beauty's touch to find. As night envelops workshops until they fall beyond spark-flickered threshold, allow queries' melodies composed gently surround you, contemplating motifs embraced by conscience and conviction, delight positioned between corners cut, pursuing harmonizing construction within artistic exploration. Rest deeper within these reflections, soaking them into softening dreams where artisans commune betwixt breadth of decorum and expansive creator corridor, censuring that goldsmiths thrive ever upon contemplation's path, limned with promises woven into reality, perpetuated by endless dawn. In the grand tapestry of the medieval goldsmith's life, woven intricately with threads of toil and artistry, lies an understanding of ephemeral gloria concept, as elusive and fragile as the very gold they mold. These glories, brilliant yet fleeting, shimmer for a moment in the world's eye before fading into history's distant echo. Imagine now the completion of an exquisite piece, a brooch crafted with unparalleled skill, its jewels set with precision, each facet capturing the light in a dance of colors. It is a moment of triumph for the goldsmith, a mannequin of splendor poised to dazzle at court or to grace a noble's attire. Yet in this triumph lies an unspoken truth. Every creation, no matter how masterful, is destined to wrestle against the entropy of time. These brief moments in the spotlight are shaped by the societal tides as much as by the skillful hand of the artisan. The fashions of the medieval world are ever shifting. What is coveted one season may fall into obscurity the next. Goldsmiths are keenly aware that their masterpieces compete in the ephemeral theatre of seasonal taste, their glory subject to the whims of fortune and favor. In the pages of history, we find stories about pieces, once admired by the nobility jewels, that became centers of conversation at royal assemblies, only to be dismantled years later for their raw materials. Such is the transient nature of fashion and adornment, an ephemeral beauty readily sacrificed to meet new artistic desires or financial necessity. While such transformations might suggest a world worn by its own impermanence, goldsmiths often see an opportunity for perpetual creativity. Each reshaped form becomes a rebirth, a new chapter in the life of the material Saturnal beyond the physicality of their current embodiment. This cyclical nature of artistry means that materials, much like stories, are revived in multiple lifetimes. Historians frequently debate whether these cycles represent wasteful excess or ingenious sustainability. Craftsmen's flexibility and resourcefulness reconciled against historical transformation. In reality, they embody both economy and the enduring human passion for reinvention in tandem. Jewelry is both a record of lineage and a testament to evolution, a silent witness to shifts on a grander scale. Quirky anecdotes amplify the precariousness of jewelry's prominence. Exhibitions of goldsmiths' works at guild competitions, where intricate designs vied for recognition, occasionally saw opulent displays overshadow everyday ingenuity. Several instances hint at contests where the most esteemed pieces, enshrined as triumphs, gathered unceremoniously dust when their sponsors fell out of power. A telling narrative about the whims of fate and status. It's not merely the finished pieces that blaze through time, but the life threaded within their making. For each medal, chalice, or pendant, crafted every glimmering masterpieces formed from exquisite labor, sleepless nights, and the goldsmith's unwavering focus. Within this action, perhaps ephemeral intertwines with the lasting nature of their art, meaning that what truly lingers is the spirit of creation itself. As you contemplate these monumental undertakings in such an ever-changing realm, you might recognize that what appears evanescent on the surface often reveals enduring influence beneath its shifting visage. The piece's ebbs and flows invite reflection on their profound duality, temporary yet timeless. Allow now the gentle farewell of day to envelop these fleeting glories, letting them shimmer on the horizon of dream and imagination. Consider how their brilliance has transcended barriers of momentary splendor, securing a place in both chronicles named and layers unsung as enduring echoes of creativity. Rest amidst the soft embrace of treasures, polished by hands that understood glory's hue to be treasured, challenged, and reborn a testament to eternity's gentle wanderings within life's brass compass. Let sleep carry you onward through realms where ephemeral and eternal entwine seamlessly, rebirthing continuously within the cyclic grace of the craftsman's touch. As you weave through the centuries, guided by the enduring craftsmanship of medieval goldsmiths, you find yourself on the threshold of the present, where modern echoes of ancient crafts resonate through today's jewelry-making practices. This continuum reveals how skills and traditions that once defined medieval artisanship persist in surprising and innovative forms. In today's bustling workshops and studios, the legacy of the medieval goldsmith is evident. You can still find the foundational techniques of metallurgy and design echoing through the clang of modern tools. The precision and artistry cultivated long ago continue to underpin contemporary creations, each piece a silent dialogue between past and present. Imagine the familiarity of a workbench, strewn with tools that have evolved only to accommodate the subtleties of modern demands: a jeweler's saw, tweezers, files and hammers, each bearing the weight of historical knowledge. As you watch an artisan at work, a skilled hand manipulating gold and gemstone, the line between then and now blurs as if the centuries collapse into the simplicity of creation. The commitment to quality, instilled in guild traditions, persists, but today, artisans benefit from technological advances that bring efficiency and precision. Computer-aided design enables concepts to materialize with unprecedented clarity, while 3D printing offers innovative ways to explore form and structure. Yet, these advances merely enhance, not replace, the timeless art of hands-on craftsmanship. Modern goldsmiths also carry forward the spirit of adapting to changing times. In a world increasingly conscious of its environmental impact, sustainable sourcing of materials reflects a renewed emphasis on ethical considerations. Much as medieval artisans navigated the complexities of trade and resource, today, recycled metals and lab-created stones move to the forefront, echoing the age-old resilience amidst fluctuating resource availability. Historians and artisans alike often reflect on whether modern techniques dilute the artistic spirit of ancient craftsmanship or expand it into new territories. This ongoing dialogue reflects a deeper understanding that progress does not erase tradition, but transforms it into new contexts of beauty and innovation. The quirky parallels continue in the realm of personal adornment. Just as medieval artisans crafted intricate pieces for specific patrons, today's jewelry often carries personal stories and bespoke designs tailored to individual narratives. From engraved names and symbols to hidden compartments concealing sentimental trinkets, goldsmiths today, much like their predecessors, create not just adornments but tangible heirlooms of experience. Even as design trends evolve, some classics endure across ages: the minimalist bands, eternal gems, and mystical motifs that trace their lineage back to medieval times. In the chiseled details of a modern tiara or the delicate chains of a necklace, echoes of ancient lines and shapes offer homage to those artisans who first transformed raw materials into objects of desire and devotion. The artisan's studio today resembles an alchemical blend of past and present: a bridgeway, linking venerable practices with contemporary innovation. Classes and workshops worldwide strive to preserve these crafts, provided with new technologies yet still grounded in age-old techniques, passed down the ultimate testimony to the enduring allure of metallurgy. As you reflect on these resonances of the past in the present, consider how each piece crafted today is an extension of a legacy that stretches back through time. The hallmarks once stamped onto gold by the guilds remain not just as proof of authenticity, but as a reminder of the shared human endeavor to create and adorn, one linking soul to artistry's vibrant pulse. Within this realization, perspectives bloom, acknowledging the interconnectedness of history's craftsmanship and tomorrow's creations, a continuum that marries tradition's integrity with contemporary ingenuity. As yawning evening settles and twilight cradles these ancient echoes, imagine how future generations will craft their narratives, fusing past wisdom with the ever-unfolding creativity of the human heart. Permit dreams to embrace this mosaic, where ages intertwined explore uncharted horizons, each morning unveiling stories anew, repeating in cycles of inspiration, perpetuated through artistry's timeless embrace. Drift contentedly, dear traveller, commingling heritage with innovation coursing through the eternal forge, drawn forth by dreams whispered unmistakably in Goldsmith legacy cherished whole. As you prepare to conclude this journey into the medieval goldsmith's world, allow the slow, rhythmic heartbeat of history to guide you through the winding down of time. Here, in this final reflection, we synthesize the tales and lessons unearthed, drawing a gentle tapestry that weaves the past with the pulse of our present. The forge, once alive with the vibrant clangor of hammers and the glow of molten metal, now rests quiet and still. The embers fade, casting soft shadows across the workshop flora, testament to the day's labor and the centuries of craft that have unfolded here. In the gentle glow of twilight, the goldsmith's legacy whispers through the silence, a timeless refrain echoing through the corridors of time. As you look around, there remains a profound sense of continuity and understanding that each piece, shaped by the artisan's hand, traverses an intricate journey from mere concept to cherished heirloom. Every artifact carries within it a fragment of history and hope, a blend of form and function crafted to resonate with those who behold it. Imagine each goldsmith as a thread linking generations, their hands guided by the wisdom of predecessors and inspired by the aspirations of those yet to come. Through toil and triumph, mistakes and mastery, they imbue their creations with passion, their fingerprints forever impressed upon the annals of artistry. Time bends here, the past and future swaying together like branches in a shared temporal breeze. In this closing serenade, consider a world where the lessons of craftsmanship transcend tangible borders, imparting skills that nurture both hands and hearts. The goldsmith's journey is not just a chronicle of artistry, but a meditation and invitation to ponder life's deeper truths through the luminous lens of gold and gem. Rest for a moment on the quiet reflection of these artisans, each aspiring not merely to adorn, but to evoke, instill within the beholder an emotional connection as rich as the metals forged in their care. Whether through heroic depictions or humble symbols, the intention is and has always been to spark the spark and stir the spirit. As you drift deeper into the embrace of sleep, carry with you the resonant legacy of these creators, an echo of dreams formed at the anvil, molded by fire and polished to brilliance. With every heartbeat marking time's passage, their story becomes a part of you, an eternal thread woven through the vast, gilded tapestry of human existence. With the close of this chapter, allow the goldsmith saga to dissolve softly into the whispers of night balm, soothing the soul, promising the dawn's gentle touch of inspiration anew. Their legacy remains a beacon, a reminder that amidst life's impermanence, the beauty crafted by deft hands transcends time, lighting the darkness with a radiance that speaks to the very heart of what it means to create. So, let these reflections guide you, holding you tenderly in their narrative embrace as you venture beyond this moment, into dreams rich with the warm, inviting glow of artistry's timeless dance. May your rest be serene, your thoughts light, and your imaginings ever gilded with the promise discovered within the goldsmith's enduring touch. Sweet dreams.